Hey folks, I got good news, what I think is good news. I have an update. It is now May 2026, and the bank reconciliation in this new May version is totally automated. So we're going to take a look at that, and I'm going to go over a couple of things that came up when I was trying to show somebody how to use the system. So here's where we're at. My original version had a bank rec for every month, and it gets cumbersome with so many tabs. So now we've got one tab toward the end now, and you can see that it'll automatically fill in outstanding checks. So let me go show you how to do this. So before I do that, right now I'm in month 2. You could see up here, you select the month that you're trying to reconcile. All right, so we're in month 2. Over here, you would fill in the bank statement ending date and the closing balance. That would transfer over to the bank closing balance here in red. Once you do that, and again, the reminder is all these yellow spaces are spaces that you can fill in, okay? So once you pick the month, what you're going to see is scrolling down, you have outstanding checks or uncleared cash out. And here I've already put some stuff in. Here it'll tell you when it happened, month 1, the posting date, and if it's a check, the check number and the amount. So we're already in month 2, but it goes back and identifies what hasn't cleared the bank, and I'm going to show you how to clear. Now, in addition to the outstanding balance from prior months, you've got current month outstanding, and then deposits in transit prior month. We've got one. I don't know. I put a reference 111 here. It's not a big deal. I was thinking I would put a check in, and I ended up deciding to put a revenue in. So there was a prior month $5,000 outstanding, and then the current month there were no deposits. So let's go to month 1 and month 2, and I will show you the way this works. So, all right, we're in the reconciliation for month 2, but in month 1, here's what I put in. I've got $5,000 input for cash in, and a 500 and 200 cash going out. Now, what happens with the reconciliation page is it's keyed off of the dates. So if you don't fill in a date, it's not going to show up on your reconciliation. So you should always put the dates in, and it'll make your life a lot easier. So right now we've got these 3 things from a prior month that haven't cleared. Now let's say they did clear. You go over here, you can hit a C. You can put anything in here you want. And I have it set up so that once you hit the C here, or in a general journal tab, CL, it'll come up cleared bank. All right, I'm going to cleared bank. So we've got 2 of these things that cleared bank. I'm going to leave it at that. Now if we go to month 2, we've got cash out. I have no reference number for a check. That's $500, and I've got rental income of $1,000. So going back to the, and remember now we have dates in here. Going back to the bank reconciliation month 2, going to the bank reconciliation month 2, and I had already cleared them because I was looking at something, so I went back and just uncleared them to give you an idea what's going on. Now month 1, we go back to the bank rec. We still have the $200 outstanding from a prior month. Okay, current month in February, month 2, we've got $500, which again hasn't cleared yet. And what these zeros are is just going back to the reference and description. If there's no reference and no description, it defaults to a 0. Okay, so here we've got current month outstanding, $500 of a cash out, and then in the deposits, nothing in the prior month, and the current month we have deposits in transit of 1,000. So let's go back to that month 2. And just, there's only 2 items here. Let's just clear them so you see what happens. Now those are cleared, and remember, everything's off of a date. If you don't put a date in, it's not going to show up. So let's go back to the bank rec, and we see in month 2, the only thing that's still out is that month 1 item. Nothing in month 2. Okay, so remember, the big thing is everything keys off of your date column. Make sure you put in a date, and then when you're doing your bank rec, what you have to do is over here you put in the statement ending balance and the bank closing balance. That bank closing balance will automatically come over to here. Okay, and then you're all set to go. So all right, let's just say we had a $5,000 ending balance. You see here it came over to this side. So that's pretty much it on the bank reconciliations. Something that came up with the projects. I was showing somebody something, and it came up that one of his partners, rather than contributing cash to the business, let me unhide the general journal. All right, unhide the general journal in month 1. So now I'm in the general journal area of month 1, and again, if you want to see it, you do a right click. Okay, a right click, and then you unhide the tab. So we're in month 1. So one of the partners put in some furniture instead of cash, and he's got to get credit. They've all decided he's got to get credit for the value of that furniture in his equity account. So you go to the general journal, and here's the $3,000 debit to furniture. That's an asset, so it's a debit. We code it as project 1. Then here's a $3,000 credit he gets for putting in equity. That's coded as member 1. So what you're going to see is when you go to the project number 1, here's the $3,000 in furniture, and then in the equity split, here's his $3,000 as member 1. And again, I didn't change the names here, but if you go to your chart of accounts section, you could change member 1 to a name. Let's say Joe. And what happens is on the equity split, it shows up. Same thing in projects. If you go to the chart of accounts and you decide project 1 is 111 Main Street, if you put in 111 Main Street, it'll come up on your financial project 111 Main Street. Okay, so I think that's about it. But again, I'll go into month 1 here, and let's say there's cash in, and we're going to change this. No, we got it here, owner equity. Okay, what we want to do is in the codes, let's say it's member 2 puts in cash as equity. That'll show up. You'll put it in as member 2, and then if you go into your equity section, your equity split, you'll see member 2 in month 1 has $5,000. Okay. It I think it's a great system. There's a lot you could do if you have an imagination and a little bit of accounting knowledge. Instead of projects, let's say you've got a 4-unit building. Well, instead of naming those things as projects, you could name them as unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, however you want to do it. But one thing I did do, because not knowing how everyone was going to use this, in the financials, I took out, this used to say balance sheet and income statement. Well, I took that out because depending on how you're coding stuff, you may not ever be able to get the balance sheet to balance, because let's say somebody puts cash in, you're not allocating that to a particular project, right? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but I'm going to show you something about allocating to a particular project. You put cash in, it doesn't show up here. It will show up, obviously, in the financial statement tab, but it's not going to show up in your project. So that you're never going to get a balance here and have an equity balance. But let's say instead I decide each of these projects is going to have its own cash account, whether you have an actual cash bank account or you're just allocating cash from a general fund. You decide each one is going to have its own cash account. So, all right, I'm a partner, and I say I'm going to take these out now. I go to my general journal and I say I'm going to deposit $5,000, or let's say $4,000, 1,000 to each of the 4 projects. So what I'm going to do here is project 1, project 2, oops, project 1, drop down box, project 2. All right, next one is drop down box, we want project 3. Obviously you'd be doing these each line across. I'm just doing this to show you what comes up. Project 4, okay? So I'm going to deposit $1,000 into each project cash. All right, so I go 1,000, 1,000, and this is the beauty of the general journal. 1,000 here. I'm going to change this to project 3. And then project 4, 1,000. Okay, now I have to balance. If you go down the bottom, you'll see it says error. There's only $4,000 in debit, nothing in credit. So what's your credit? I'm an owner. I just gave the business $4,000, 1,000 for each project. Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm member 1, and I'm getting my credit for 4,000. And what we're going to do is the accounts. All these are going to cash. And then this one's going to equity account. So now in your general journal, you can literally allocate different things, and that includes non-cash. Maybe he put $1,000 worth of furniture in each project, and they gave him credit for $4,000 of equity. This is the way you would do it. You can do a lot of it in your cash journal, but when you have a situation like this, you go to your general journal to make the entry. So let's take a look now. We go back to the equity split, and the owner equity now is, all right, I should probably have my glasses on, because I'm screwing this up a little bit. All right, 4,000 here. I had this all messed up with, I didn't have for cash, I didn't have owner equity. So anyway, here we are. We got 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, all the cash going to projects 1 through 4. Then I have the member equity of $4,000. So let's go back and take a look at our equity position and see if member 1 got another $4,000. Yes, and it shows you it's the general journal that was used to put in that $4,000. Over here you can make comments. You know, you could, there's enough room so you could say member 1 donated $1,000 to each of the 4 projects, and you could go back to the general journal and you would see it. Okay, so you can see I have my glasses on now, and I just want to go over that mistake that I made. I had $2 amounts on the same line item here, and I skipped the one of the projects at one point. So if you make a mistake like that, and you go to look for the entry to make sure it got allocated and you don't see it, come back here. You probably did something like what I just did, where you didn't put it in as owner equity. You ended up here on the line above. So usually there's a good reason for it. You either didn't code it right, or on your reconciliation you left out a date. And if you wear glasses, put your glasses on. So that's all I can say. I apologize for that, but let's just move on. Thank you. If we go to the project 1, you see 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, total of 4,000. You can actually now, that if you do it the right way, and you probably have to make a lot of entries through your general journal, you can actually have a balance sheet and income statement for your projects. But I did not want to show this as technically a balance sheet, because a lot of people, maybe they don't care about how to allocate the cash to each project, as long as you got a central cash account. And then as long as you spend it, whatever you spend it on gets allocated to the project. All right. So this is another way too of each unit. If you have cash coming in as rent, that you could use these as apartment numbers, building numbers, whatever you want to use it for. You got to use your imagination a little bit here. Okay. So flippers, this is great if you got a couple going at once. If you're a landlord and you've got one building with 4 units that you want to use this for, or you've got 4 separate buildings you want to use this for, however you want to use it, it'll be great. So anyway, I think that's it with the updates, guys. The projects, again, you can identify the actual addresses here by going back to your chart of accounts tab and putting in, over here it would be project, you would put the address in, or however you wanted to code it. Member, you put the member actual name in, and then that all shows up in the appropriate section. So I think this is now a pretty neat system for someone who has a small business. If you're doing landscaping and you want to do project, you could do it by customer. Just be creative with it, you know. So let me just see if there's something else I want to tell you. Again, the bank statement, the bank reconciliation, you must put a date in there. All right, I think that's it, guys. I think we're all set. So this is the May 2026 updated version. One thing I want to work on, possibly for the upcoming any additions, is maybe I put another column in here for a second code, so that, well, let's say you are somebody who who contributes furniture or something where you need to spread it a couple of different ways. It gives you an opportunity to code it like as a member contribution as well as an expense. All right, so I don't know. I have to think about that a little bit to see if it's really necessary. But if you use your general journal for those types of entries, like we showed you here, you won't have a problem. All right, you can split owner equity into each project. You can split different things into each project. Maybe you already have some. You have a contractor that's working on 3 projects. He sends you a bill, and you have a general cash account. You give him $3,000, and you can go here instead of in the cash journal, and say project 1 is 1,000, project 2 is 1,000, project 3 is 1,000, and then the $3,000 would be a credit to cash, right? And that would be um, contractual or repairs and maintenance, however you wanted to code it. All right. So again, thanks, guys. I've enjoyed doing this, and I hope I can come up with some more ideas on making this a better system. You know, you hide as many of these tabs as you want to make it easier for your input for any particular month. You could hide all the other months. Again, you do a right click and hide, or if you want to unhide, you click the unhide and find what you want to unhide. So thanks a lot. I appreciate the fact that you're going to be using this system. Again, if there's any issues that you come up with that you think maybe there was a calculation that wasn't correct, get in touch with me. Let me know. Have a great day.